My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. We're very fortunate this evening to have two prominent people in our community. Mrs. Priscilla Holliday, volunteer for the Gift of Hope, and to her left is Cheryl Craig, also a volunteer for the Gift of Hope. They are advocates for hope. We're going to be talking about organ and tissue donation, and we realize that either someone in your family or someone that you know are either have received an organ or waiting for an organ. And we're going to be talking about the importance of organ and tissue donors there. So, good evening, folks.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks.
Priscilla, I want to start off with you to tell our listening audience first about your personal professional background. Who is Priscilla Holliday?
Well, my personal background, and I worked for Abbott Laboratories. I was administrative assistant for Abbott Laboratories.
Okay.
I retired from there in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
I am my church. I'm involved in my church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very involved with my family and children. I am also currently working in a program for high school dropouts, which is called Youthville, Lake County, which a lot of people probably might know, but there are some that may not know that we work with the high school dropouts, those that have dropped out and need to get a GED and further their education.
And you're there to turn them around and put them, give them a second chance.
Absolutely. Really. Hoping that they will want to continue, get an education, their GED, move on to college. Some will, some have, and some go on to trade schools. So it's rewarding, and I'm giving back, and I love it.
Fantastic. Well, we want to talk with Cheryl Craig, and I'm going to give you the same opportunity that I gave Priscilla. Tell our listening audience, and I'm learning right along with my audience too,
Okay.
about your personal and professional background.
Okay. Well, my name is Cheryl Craig. I'm a native now at Gurnee, Illinois.
Okay.
I work my personal background is in medical field.
Oh.
My mom, she was a nurse. My sister was a nurse, and so I began, I got into medical field, and I recently worked at North Chicago High School.
Okay.
I have been as a nurse, school nurse, professional school nurse.
Okay.
And now I'm out on medical leave.
You were at a heart school too, weren't you? I think along
Yes.
with my daughter. My daughter taught there.
Yes, I were. I worked at Hart School for 3 years before they closed it down.
Okay.
Under Mr. Bill King.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed working there. And we got together, and I was telling you about, we finna get ready to close the school down.
Okay.
And you said, oh, that's wonderful. We need to do a Historia show. And me and Miss Sable, she was a second grade teacher, came down. I introduced you to her.
Okay.
And you went off from there, and did what you need
my
to
ratings
do.
went up after
Yeah,
after that program with
that's
Hart
good.
School,
That's good.
Okay, I tell you what we want to talk about now is the program that both of you involved in is called Gift of Hope. Priscilla, what is Gift of Hope?
Well, Gift of Hope, Organ and Tissue Donor Network.
Okay.
Gift of Hope is an OPO, and the OPO that is federally funded, and what they do is when we do people that become donors, they also work with hospitals. There's hospitals that are partnered with that do transplants, and the OPO from Gift of Hope, they go in and what they call recover the organs from for transplanting. So that's a lot of, and tissue. We don't want to leave out tissue because organ and tissues, not only just organs.
Right.
Organs and tissue. So they're federally funded.
Well, how did you get involved with Gift of Hope?
Well, I got involved because my husband, which then was Jimmy Long, I was married to Jimmy Long, and he became on dialysis. He got on dialysis due to the fact that he had sickle cell, and we know that often sickle cell anemia, often your organs fail. So in his case, his kidneys failed due to the sickle cell anemia, and he was placed on the transplant list. He went to dialysis 3 times a week. Sometimes it made him very, very sick. It just depends. Sometimes they would take off too much fluid and so forth. So it was very hard for him, very difficult. We couldn't, as a family, we really couldn't do much because he had to be in dialysis 3 times a week, and just depending on how he felt. Well, he was on dialysis for 2 years, and it was Christmas Eve, 1987, that we got the call that they had a kidney for him. So they said, you need to be here immediately. So immediately we took off to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago on Christmas Eve. Myself and he and our 2 children in tow. And so he went, and they took him in and they did his surgery, and he received a kidney. He received what we call a cadaver kidney, which is from someone that's deceased. The person that we received it from was in a car accident, and he was in California. So that kidney was flown from California to Chicago.
Is there a certain amount of hours that he had to receive the kidney?
Yeah, there is a within a time limit that you have to receive. The kidney it's the longest organ that it can stay out the longest for transplant. But he received it. They called when we were called. We were there, and it had already arrived when we got there. It was flown by, they have the medical flight crew that comes. So it was flown in, and the kidney started working immediately, actually.
I bet that was
and that was a happy Christmas Eve for all of us. His mom, his whole family, we were all ecstatic that he had received his kidney.
Yeah,
This is fantastic.
that's good.
Now, how long did the kidney last?
That kidney lasted for 1 year, and it failed after a year. And so after a year, he went back onto dialysis a second time. And that time he was on dialysis only 6 months. And he got the second call. This time it was Freda, because he signed up on the transplant list in Illinois and also in Wisconsin. So therefore, this time we got the call from Wisconsin that they had a kidney for him. So here we go again. For the second time.
So Cheryl, how did you get involved with Gift of Hope?
Well, first of all, I want to mention about I'm a member of Greater Faith Baptist Church, and I'm very involved with my church as well. My sister, Cynthia Nix, in Birmingham, Alabama, she was on dialysis, and now she's deceased. And I never knew that, all of a sudden I seen these group of people I went to an event, and I seen these group of people, and I said, wow. I said, I would like to do this. And one of the ladies I knew, Gwen Beckwith, I knew her, and I said, Gwen, I said, I would love to volunteer. I said, because my sister, Cynthia Nix, had passed away on dialysis. And that was 6 years ago. And not knowing that I was going to be the one on dialysis as well. And I've been on dialysis ever since 2009. I am on the transplant waiting list. Right now, I know that start at 4:25 Central Time. There is the whole United States. It's 121 5,256 people who are waiting for kidney transplants.
Wow.
Waiting.
And there are, in Illinois, there's 5,350 people.
Yeah, that's an up-to-date list, right?
Yes, this is
As
an
of today.
up-to-date list, you know. And I'm part of that one, you know, here in Illinois. I've been on the transplant list myself for 2009 due to my blood type, O positive, and my antibiotics.
Okay.
So that's the prolong of me not having one yet, because they go on first turn, first basis.
Okay. Okay.
So hopefully, if God will, with my time, we're coming up 2014. I am still, and it kind of thrilled me because I know I'm also giving back something to the community while I'm receiving something. And I get out and I try to participate in all events. You know, bring Gift of Hope there, you know, and it's a wonderful thing.
Priscilla, tell us about the organization now. How large is the organization? Is it a local organization or is it nationwide?
Well, the Gift of Hope is local, state, Illinois. So each state has their own OPO.
Okay.
As in Illinois, ours is the organ procurement, which is Gift of Hope. We are here, but each state has their own.
Okay.
On each state. So in our area, as far as volunteers are concerned, we have over 125 volunteers. And our focus is the African American community because we are that 35% that are waiting for those organs, especially a kidney, because that's the biggest organ.
Real.
So we concentrate in the African American community, doing donor registrations, doing what we're doing now here, talking about organ and tissue donation, going to churches, going to any event in the community that we can attend and talk about organ and tissue donation and the importance of becoming a donor. It is because if you look around at the dialysis centers that you might know, if you just sit there and look, most of the people that are going into those dialysis centers look like us. So we are still, our first point was to educate, then we moved from education to donation. Okay, so once we've educated everyone, okay, now it's a good thing to become a donor. Just think about, yourself. You never know when
never
you
know.
might be that person
That's right.
that needs that organ, or you're a child, you have children, just like the young man, a teenager. It affects everyone. It doesn't just that it's just local, just one group, one culture.
Now, the teenager that we have on the screen,
Right, this teenager.
probably he's a recipient of
No, well, what he is he's going to his dialysis treatment.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
on the
he's on dialysis.
Oh,
He's
my.
going to
Yes.
his treatment.
Now, I mentioned that because my mother was 80 years old when her kidneys failed, and she was on 10 years, before she passed. Now, that's an elderly person, but you say here the teenagers are just as susceptible as adults, right?
Right, because we have many
Yes,
young
yes.
people that are diabetic these days. A lot.
Type 1.
Number.
Type
1. And
To show people how prevalent it is, my son took a physical for first grade, and he was diagnosed as diabetic there. And he was insulin all the way through college, and through his whole working career as a manager. He's an electrical engineer. And it wasn't until he was ready to retire when he got
when he was diagnosed,
that
that his
was
kidney failure.
Kidney failure, right? All that his whole life he's taking insulin. Now he's on a machine. He did home dialysis
which is
for, I guess, a couple of years until then he got on the list, the donor list, for a kidney and a pancreas.
Okay,
okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And so I guess it must be about a 2-year wait. Now, is there a separate list for kidney and then there's a separate one for,
No, there's one list.
One list.
One list.
I mean, for double transplant?
No, it's one list. Transplant list is the transplant list. Now, if normally if you, for instance, I'm saying, okay, I'm a donor.
Okay.
So I say, okay, I'm a donor. So you can have anything from me that you can use, whether it be the skin, the cornea, the eye. It's the cornea. That's the part that from the eyes you get. Where it be skin, where it be vein, where it be kidney, whatever you can. You're able to transplant and give someone else a quality of life. From me,
Yes.
you could have it. So like you said, he got the pancreas
And
so,
the kidney.
and
Yeah,
the kidney. So he got the double. So he was blessed. He
So
got
now
the
he
double.
asked the wife, Mama, can I have some peach cobbler?
Bless his soul.
Because it's been a long time since he had
Bless
peach cobbler, so he's doing fine,
So that's
And it's
wonderful.
also a process because you got to go in, you got to get a team of people, and they have to trail you.
Okay.
You have to go back, you have to get numerous of blood samples, you
Okay.
have to get every month, you have to get it's a lot. It's a lot.
To be
You have to
done.
get your heart exam, you have to make sure your liver is not damaged because they also can give you a kidney and a liver, and that's the pancreas. And, it's just a whole lot. It's a process.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
describe Priscilla, the registration process.
To register to become a donor, there are several ways you can do it. Actually, you can do it by signing up when you go to renew your driver's license. That's at the DVM. You can do it there, Division of Motor Vehicles. You can do it there.
Yeah.
You can do it online. You can go online to giftofhope.org. And there's a drop-down menu, and it says Become a Volunteer. You click on that button, and it brings up the screen, and you can put in your information to become a volunteer. You can also do it through Life Goes On. That's through the Secretary of State also. You can do it whenever we're out in the community all the time doing donor registrations. We do donor registrations at churches, like I said previously, churches, fraternity, sorority events, anywhere that we can go and to do a donor registration. We want to do that because our concentration, as I said, is on the African American community because we know that we are that percentage that's waiting for those organs. We have 8 chapters of African American Task Force. We have Chicago, which is our main hub, because that's our biggest one. So we're under the umbrella of Chicago. So we have Chicago, we have Northwest Indiana, because it's a part of our service area. We have the western suburb, the south suburb. It goes as far as Rockford, Central Illinois, downstate Peoria, Champaign, Urbana, all down there, and of course here in Lake County. So
Yeah,
we
you
cover a lot of
mentioned
territory.
about your concentration is on the African American community because, well, 12% of the population is African American, but on the waiting list, excuse me, it's 35%.
35%.
So that's a big difference,
waiting.
right?
The
So that
big-
means that's
a
why you
big-
need more
African
African American donors.
Right.
to become
And,
donors.
and what you're doing is making the public aware of the
Exactly.
importance of African American become donors.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, why do you think that that there's so many myths about donors? You know, a priest will say, "I'm too old. I'm too sick to be a donor." Do you ever get too old to be a donor?
No. If you're a pretty healthy person, you can be a donor. You can be
Be
80 years old and be a
yeah.
donor. If you're in pretty good health and shape, and you can be a donor. There's even some that even though a lot of people have high blood pressure, that can still be donors. You're pretty healthy, but you can still be donor. And it's not just the organs. You can be we got skin.
Okay.
We got corneas again. Talk about the eye, the cornea,
You
veins.
mentioned about skin. I have a friend of the family that had a double mastectomy, and they reconstructed by taking skin from her leg and reconstructed her breast.
Well, see, and then that's her skin. But that skin, you know, say it was someone else, it could be transplanted to someone else.
Okay, okay, okay.
And you know, they've come a long way with transplanting. I don't know if you remember the lady that was attacked by that chimpanzee
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
that mauled her. Well, they did a transplant on her face.
A
So
facial.
a facial
Reconstruction.
transplant. So they're you know, it's transplantation is
Cheryl mentioned about being too sick to be a donor.
Well, it's all depend. A lot of times, like she said, you can, if you have high blood pressure,
Okay.
you can be a donor, but you have the key word she said, you have to be healthy.
Okay.
you gotta keep up.
And
Medicine.
other than that, if you have high blood pressure and you obesity, and you know you have diabetes,
Okay.
it's a chance they would not accept that donor due to the fact it's a lot of stigmas to it, because that person have to lose weight, have to get that person have to also get that sugar level in control, and a lot of times people is not ready for that, but it's other parts of the body if needed. They can have, like she's spoken on, the skin, you know, and the veins. Yes.
Another myth may be my religion doesn't require me to be a donor.
Well,
I think what we're doing now is talking about the educational process, right?
Right. Educating, yes. Education, when they say that my religion, but most religions are with, they're about, yes, they're not saying no to organ and tissue donation. Most religions are accepting in it. So you can, I don't know any that hasn't, but we always say that it's not, they don't say you can't do it. But most religions are fine with you being a donor. I know that's been one of the things that we've heard a lot of whenever we do donor registration tables. So one of the things that I always say to an individual that tells me about religion, well, then I ask them, well, did you know who did the first transplant?
Tell us about the first transplant in the world.
The
Some
first,
people may not be aware of that.
well, the very first transplant was done by God when He took
Amen.
Adam's rib and He formed Eve. Now that was the first. That was in Genesis. Genesis. That was the first transplant that was done by God. So if we know that God can take a rib and form a woman,
Yes.
and that's a transplant, and it was fine.
Yes.
So we should not have any problem about being afraid. Oh, I don't want to do transplant. Well, I don't want to be a donor. I'm afraid. Well, it is about, I think it is a lot about fear, but that's why we want to educate us that it's, you know, it's okay. Because when you leave this world, it's ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
That's right.
And if you can help somebody, that's my thing. If I can help somebody have a better life by being a donor for
Right,
them.
save a life,
Save-
give a gift.
Yeah, that's a gift
You
for
know,
them.
and that's the main problem here with African Americans, of lack of education,
Okay.
you know, of knowledge about the existence and all, you know, because we hear the horror stories, you know, so we try to do a little education to them to get them to understand, you know, why don't you, and the main thing, we plan on coming up too with some seminars
Okay.
here in Lake County soon. I don't know when, I can't really tell you, but that, you know, we have discussed that, and at least have it once a month held somewhere So therefore, you know, we can bring the community in and, you know, pinpoint, well, this is like this, and then, you know, and once they hear the really depths and the details of it, a lot of people say, oh, well, that's not so bad.
It's an explanation.
Yes.
It's sharing with them and actually talking about it. Because oftentimes what happens is a lot of people, when you have a loved one that passes away and the hospital staff will ask about, you know, them becoming a donor. It's oftentimes people say no because they don't know about organ and tissue donation, so they'll say no. But that's why we're trying to make our community aware of organ and tissue donation, the importance. Because, like I said, I can't not repeat. We're 35% of those that are needing those, and we're 12% of the population, but it's 35% of us that need those organs.
Well, what about the segment of the population that's want to find out how to become an advocate, the Gift of Hope?
Well, they can do that by contacting us at Gift of Hope at the www.giftofhope.org.
Okay.
And or call our number, which is 630-726-2686, and that would be direct line to the African American Task Force, and indicate that they want to be a donor. We also, on our website, the drop-down menu, you can do it right from there. You can sign up to be a volunteer that way. So that's number of ways that we're always looking for volunteers because we always need volunteers. And here in Lake County, we really want more volunteers. Chicagoland has
plenty.
A lot of volunteers. But when you come out in this area, we don't have as many as we would like to spend, because it's not only Waukegan, North Chicago, Zion, and Lake County. We have Round Lake.
Lake County.
Yeah, we have Round Lake, we have Mundelein, we have all the other around us, and African Americans are in all those communities.
Yes,
so we really need more volunteers. And there's training. We don't just, you don't just become a volunteer and just throw you in.
Right.
Okay.
There's training to get you familiar with how the process goes and what we do as volunteers.
Yes.
It's very rewarding because they give us a lot of help. We're reimbursed for our mileage if we have to travel far. They supply us with whatever supplies that we need. They supply them to us to whenever we need them. So it's rewarding because you're giving back. You're helping someone that possibly, you talk to an individual and they say yes. That's a great thing when they say yes, I'll become a donor.
Yes.
That's an excellent. And when they sign the card, that's when you know they are serious.
Sincere.
But if they just stand around and talk, and then what we'll do is give them the information and let them, think about it. Maybe the next time they see us, or maybe the next time they go to go to renew their license, then maybe then they will sign up.
The Secretary of State is a great ally.
Yes.
Because he allows people all you do is check off that they want to be a donor.
And they'll put it on, it's direct, it's right on your driver's license. It shows right on your driver's license that you are a donor. And to me, that's a wonderful thing.
And what you're doing is the possibility of saving a life.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's the main key thing here, giving another
Saving a life.
person, saving a life, giving that person a gift of life.
And we have had instances in Chicago, because one of our director, who is Director of Community Affairs, Jack Lynch, he is the one, our liaison for the whole group of African Americans. So there's been times that because he's goes in and he is a requester. He goes in, when a loved one passes, he talks to the family. And there's been families that said, and yes, I'm saying yes, because your volunteers taught me, and I signed up what it's about. It is to be an organ and tissue donor. And yes, we're going to say yes to our child or whomever it is, our mother, father, sister, brother, whoever it is, and they say yes to donation. And that makes you really, wow, that makes you feel good because what you've been seeing out there and what people are doing, it's registering. We're starting to get it. We're moving up on that.
And then a lot of things we do also, if that person, we have that event, that table, they come and sign up as a volunteer. We always invite them to another event, to come out and join us, so therefore they can see what we do and how we go by doing it.
Well, you don't have any fundraisers, you don't need any fundraisers,
No,
right?
we don't do fundraisers.
You're interested in just saving lives.
Yeah,
Saving, like getting people to sign up to become donors. But we do. We've had galas where we have where we all come together and with partners in the areas, and we have a special night that we all dress up, come together, and it's about networking and so forth. We also participate in the we have a table at the Dr. Martin Luther King breakfast in January. We are at the Black Women's Expo every year. We do that.
Universal Women.
We do the big events. Those are the big events that we really participate. The Bud Billiken Parade. So we participate in all those big events, and then at each community, each task force from each area that I spoke about, North Shore, for us here, we have the Red, Black, and Green that they do that every year.
Yeah,
the
with
university,
the
the university women, they have their luncheon. So we, want to get into any venue that will allow us to come in and set up a table or booth and register. We also are willing to come out and do speak about organ and tissue donation. We do speaking also about organ and tissue donation.
Well, tell us about matching organs. In other words, it's not just automatic that you get they give you an organ. It has to match. And tell us about the matching process.
It's not an automatic thing. As Cheryl has said, there's a process. There is a very involved process for doing. Now, Cheryl, who is on the transplant list, she can tell you what she's had to go through to get on the list.
Well, I had to go, and first I had to pick up where I want location and what medical hospital do I want to sign up with. Because you can sign up with 2 in the state of Illinois. Like if I want to sign up Northwestern or UIC in Wisconsin.
Sign up to receive.
To receive
get on the
a
transplant. Get on the transplant. You get it on the list.
And you go in and you meet with, like I said, you have to meet with a group of people as your team, and they trails you. And every month you have to call in if any changes. You have to call in with your health. It's just a process by itself. It's another job and another job interview, but it's all worth it because in due time you will receive your transplant, as long as you keep yourself healthy. Now, they had asked you to have annual checkup. You had to have for women, we have to have a breast mammogram. We have to make sure for both men and women, we have to see a dentist on baseless every 6 months. So we have to keep our mouth clean and free from infections. And also, we also have to have stress tests with the heart every year. And we have to coordinate, because the heart is the most important base of your body. Because if your heart can't take this, it's not going to work, period. So these are the main sources and the main things that they want you to keep going and have, keep on a regular basis, like it's mandatory. It's like a job,
And to be realistic, not everyone receives.
That's right.
Will receive. So we have to remember that happens too. Everyone doesn't receive the organ the kidney or whatever organ they've signed up with the transplant center for. So oftentimes we have that don't make it.
And you mentioned there's so many ways. There's a tissue donation, there's skin, bones, and also heart valves, even, right? So there's many ways that donation takes place, and it's from a living or dead person.
Yeah, it can be
too, right?
it can be a living donor. My cousin was a donor. She donated her kidney to her brother,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, because he was diabetic, so she donated a kidney to him. So living donor, yes, that is the great way to go. If you can have a living donor, your odds of it lasting longer are much better.
Yeah,
And-
there's many instances where a family member, usually they're tested first.
But the family member, the family member's got to be willing. You can ask them, but
Yeah.
because of fear about all of what takes
Yeah.
place,
Okay.
sometimes family members will say no, they don't want to. So, and that happens often. So you have to start. Okay, then you got to look around and you got to just start. Putting it out there. Well, now in the social media, there's people that will go on to Facebook and they'll tell their story. I'm in need of a kidney, and I'm looking for a living donor.
Okay.
And that has happened, and people have connected that way with the living donor. A lady gave to she was a teacher, and she had retired and moved out of state. And the the person that she knew, he needed a kidney. So he went on and this is his story. He went on Facebook and he posted it on Facebook. She saw the post on Facebook. She called him and she said, I will test to see if I am a match. She was his match. They had been friends for years, and he put it.
Yes.
So that's another.
That was a
Using the
success
social
story.
media
Yes.
is excellent way to get your story out there that you're in need of the organ. Putting it out on the social news networks.
Now, if you look at me,
You
you
would know.
couldn't tell.
Okay, right.
But I am a transplant. I am looking to have a transplant. I am searching and hoping that my match would come
You're on the
soon.
registration list.
I
You're
am on the registration list in Wisconsin. And another thing she said about that, sometime you might not get after going to all the criteria
Okay.
to meet the requirements. And a lot of people, and that brings sadness, because all the years they have to process themselves and, constantly meeting these requirements and
Okay.
then get turned
Still.
down, and that's not only hard on that person, but also on the family.
Now, when you say turn down, because the
Never get one after going through all those criterias and requirements and then turned
not a match.
not a match. Yeah.
And this is not a match. You were describing the reasons why you're not a match too, though. Many things happen.
Many things happen, right? Many things happen in
It's
the.
not
in
just
the,
the type, O type, or
No,
A
it's-
or B,
there-
and so
No,
forth.
there's many
it goes
things.
beyond that.
Right. Your antibodies.
It's-
Okay.
Everybody have different antibodies in their body. Some have and
Amazing.
some not have them.
Amazing.
So it just
And they
depends.
also got to be matched with the blood type. Like myself, I'm positive O, but I have antibodies.
Okay.
And I need someone that have is O positive with the same antibodies that I carry.
So you can be an organ donor, a tissue donor, or an organ transplant is
Organ reception.
recipient.
organ recipient.
Yeah.
So yeah, when
What,
you
yeah.
receive, it's a recipient.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So when you say I'm going to be a donor and you sign the donor card, okay, so you are saying that, okay, I'm going to be a donor, so whatever that I am is here that can be donated,
Okay.
then it can be donated. It can be used if it's usable. So usually, because we've had people to say, well, can I just be specific and say I only want my kidneys? Yeah, you can say that. Oh, I only want you to take my kidneys.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, for
yeah.
transplant.
Okay.
You can be specific like that. You can also say you've signed up. 2 years later, you say I don't want to be a donor. You can take yourself off the registry.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
you can do that.
Yes.
Because it doesn't mean it's law. Because once you're on there, you're on there. No.
Right.
If you decide that
right.
you no longer want to be on the transplant
Yes.
donor registry, you can remove yourself from the registry.
We like to emphasize that, you know, we're promised 10, you know, and more can be added or less. But you're going back to dust. You're going to dust
That's
off
right.
thou and dust returneth.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, and that's fine.
That's right.
So you have to do through the educational process. Then you're gonna try to get people to sign up to be donors, so that your eyes could be the eyes for someone that need eyes, or you can whatever the organ is, you know, people can use. And you say you can state that you just wanted one, but when you're gone, doesn't matter where you get one organ.
God don't want them organs.
well,
he don't want them
you
organs.
want them to
He
stay here.
He
You
want
want
them
to stay here.
to
Somebody
save a
down
life.
here.
Yeah, he wants your spirit.
Yeah, you just want that
Yes,
spirit.
yeah,
That's
that's
what's going
right.
with it.
That's right.
The rest of that is, you know, he doesn't want
That's
that.
right.
So
Dust
leave it
to
for
dust,
someone.
ashes to ashes.
So leave it to someone that can have a better quality of life.
Yeah, of life.
Life
That's
keeps
right.
going. Now, do you have a regular meeting place that you meet?
Yes. Here in Lake County, well, Marcus Burnett is the director for Lake County.
Oh,
So normally the meetings are at his church,
Antioch
Antioch
Baptist
Baptist Church,
in Waukegan.
in Waukegan. So they meet there on the
Third
third
Thursday of the month.
of the month.
You know, you mentioned Marcus Burnett. Several years ago, he was on this very program in need of a heart.
Yes, yes.
And he finally got a heart
Heart,
transplant,
yes.
and that was one of the greatest things that ever
Praise
happened.
the
you know.
Lord.
He's,
I tell you,
But-
I tell you.
But tell us about that now. He received the heart, but then his kidney.
His kidneys,
Yes.
yeah, his kidneys failed.
Is that because of the antibiotics or something he's taking for the
I
heart?
think his
that-
medication has to do with the
with-
types of
yes.
medications that you're
Okay.
on, the rejection medicine, you know,
Okay.
rejection medicines and so forth. So it's to do with the kinds of medications that a
Yes.
transplant recipient are
Okay,
on.
okay.
So in his case, his kidneys are
Yeah.
failed, and so that's what happened. That's why he's now on dialysis.
Yeah.
So
but
now
I
he's
do,
on a list now waiting for kidney now.
Well,
Well, he's-
I don't know if he's on the list. I
Yeah.
just know that
He's
he's
on dialysis.
Yes.
He
Yes.
started today.
Yeah.
His first day
Yes.
was
Oh,
today.
today was the first.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
So we'll have to-
But you know, you don't have to be a diabetic
No.
to have kidney failure. You can also
Okay.
have hypertension, because
okay.
my hypertension caused
one that
me my eyes to fall.
So you can still eat peach cobbler too. It wasn't
I
like
eat
my
a
son.
little bit. I try to pull back, and I love it.
And
So-
the key to early detection.
Oh yeah.
So the thing is for us is early detection. So if you know the hypertension, high blood pressure is a silent killer.
Yes.
So we want to be diligent about our checkups, getting checked up.
Yeah.
And if you are hypertensive, like I am, I take medicine. I mean, I take my medicine religiously every
Okay.
day because I know
You know,
that-
possibility of what
right,
could happen.
exactly.
I know.
All right, because my mother was diabetic. She was in kidney failure. My brother was diabetic. He was in kidney failure. So I mean, I'm in that realm, but I'm diligent about being sure that I'm
Right.
taking my medications and so forth. Because oftentimes that's one of the problems I think in our community we're not
Taking.
doing is taking care of ourselves,
Selves.
eating eating better. You know, stop
Okay.
eating all greasy fried stuff. Start
Okay.
baking and broiling and using less salt and you
Yeah.
know those kinds of things. Watch how you prepare food, making it healthier for us. We want to. So yeah, when you're in this as a needing an organ, but let's do the things prior to that
Okay.
to get to keep ourselves healthy. So we don't have to go through
Yeah.
some of the things that some of us are
And
going
it's
through.
good to have a prevention. You
Right,
know, always
preventive,
have a plan and
preventive.
a prevention for yourself. Because if I knew what I know now and
Okay.
how educated I am now about kidney failure, renal failure,
Renal,
Okay.
I think I would like to turn the time back, but I know it's not going to go.
Okay.
Another thing too, I was so blessed to hear that Marcus finally started his treatment because myself, I go 3 days out a week,
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays.
Okay.
And at the beginning, it's kind of, because your body is not used to this, it's a new thing to you,
Okay.
but it's saving his life and it's prolonged. And trust me, he's gonna feel a lot better than he. And my blood pressure now runs 119
Right.
over 70.
Oh, that's
120 over 60, and hey, if I had only, but you never know, and you live to learn.
You know, God is using him. He's a minister of the
Yes.
gospel.
Yes, he
And
is.
he's saving lives spiritually.
Yes,
too, you know.
yes,
So God is using him, you know.
yes.
Has the mission changed, the program from inception to now? Is it-
No, our mission is still the same, saving and enhancing lives.
Yeah.
It's still the same. It's still the same, has not
Okay.
changed.
Well, this is fantastic. Gift of Hope is tell us about the history of that word, the Gift of Hope. How did they come up with that?
Well, it used to be called back in the day, it was called ROBI, Regional Organ Bank.
I think I remember
So
that.
you remember
Yeah.
that. So it was Regional Organ Bank. And one of the things that they found out is, I guess, wherever we would be with registration or donor tables, people always thought it was a bank. They would go, "Oh, what does your bank do? Oh, what is your?" So then,
Right.
the Gift of Hope, I guess, they discussed, well, something is wrong with this how we're naming ourselves. So I guess they got together and they came up with the Gift of Hope, which is the gift of hope, hoping that you will get that organ that you need. So
Gift of hope
it's
of life.
Gift of Hope. So that's where it came from. They changed it. That was changed.
You know, the message that both of you, as they say in the Navy, promulgating, getting information out to the public is so satisfying, and both of you seem so compassionate
Yes, you
about
have
what
to.
you're doing, you know.
Oh yeah.
So what you're doing is trying to pass that on to others that may be here in the listening audience, or either at your churches or a school
Yes.
or wherever,
Right.
because we don't want to wait until it happened to us or it happened to a family member, a friend, or
Yes.
so forth. This is, I think you mentioned preventive.
Yes.
And but why do you think so many people heavy on alcohol? Because alcohol is devastating to the organs too, right?
Yes, it is.
Especially
know,
the liver.
Yeah.
I said that's just the devil, demon himself.
Mhm.
Because that goes way back in slavery time.
Okay.
And so I don't know.
Well, when you
I-
speak of slavery, you mentioned about high blood pressure too.
yeah,
Because you got the
Slaves are heavy.
right.
yeah, because of course you got the least, and you got what they consider scraps.
Okay.
And then the stress,
The greasy,
the stress of that time. But I think probably the alcohol thing has a lot to do with the state that people are in.
The mindset.
Yeah, the
It's
state
the
that a lot of people are
mindset.
in. They're just,
Yeah.
giving up, and so they turn to those to alcohol and drugs and so forth.
Well, what's new on the horizon for both of you with the Gift of Hope? You got any special programs or ways
Well,
that you're going to address
The
people?
keep doing the same that we're doing.
Doing
In
Okay.
hoping to increase the numbers of African
volunteer and donors.
volunteers and increase. We do need more volunteers to help with this cause, to spread the word and hopefully get
Yes.
more people to, especially in the African American community where we are concentrated. That's where we are, and that's what we want to concentrate on
Yes.
is our own community, African American community. And because the Hispanic, they have a organization. They have a chapter also.
Yes.
And so the, as we call the, and so does the Caucasian. They have they
Okay.
cover. But because it's, and it happens. What it is the cultural differences. That's the only reasons that we have them, like the Hispanic, the African American, and because it's the cultural differences. What I may be okay with you coming approaching me, it may be not okay with though, especially because we culturally we do things differently.
Yes, we
and
do.
we're the way we approach things differently. So that's why we're separate that way. It's not like I say, it's the cultural difference.
Yeah.
That's why we are.
But the organ itself, there's no cultural
There's
difference with
no
the organ.
cultural
No,
difference from the
Now, we
organ.
emphasize that
None.
African
Yes.
Americans, 35% on the waiting list, but only 12% of the population. But the organs that would save you will
Doesn't
save
matter.
anyone. right?
Anybody,
Save anyone.
everybody got the same.
We got the same makeup.
Yes,
in here, inside,
everybody.
it's the same. It's
Yes,
no
it's
different.
no black, white, blue, yellow. It's we in all this together.
Okay. It's just
So-
like the blood. My wife's professionally, she's is a registered technologist. Right?
Okay.
So I was asking her, is there any difference between the blood and the different ethnic groups?
No, no.
And she said, it's always A, B, O,
Yeah,
it's all
and
we
all
all-
the types.
that's
the
right.
same type of blood that'll save you will save.
That's
anyone,
right.
you
And
know.
we all God's children.
Right,
Okay.
we're all
You
God's
know, we
children.
all God's children.
And we
Okay.
don't, the thing about, because it's saying culture, that is the only reason, because it's about educating your own community.
That's
So that's the
right.
key, community, your community, educating your community. We are all the same,
Yes.
but we have to do it this way because that's a fact that culturally we do have those differences. But that's it, just culturally, not anything else. inside.
So we can say a person has the power to donate life.
Donate.
Yeah,
doing
that's
it.
what
Power
it
to
is.
donate
That's
life.
the key.
And
Saving a life.
so we like to encourage our listening audience to really think seriously about it. They probably haven't thought seriously about how they can donate organs, right?
Yes.
And so, and how important it is. And you mentioned it's not only just organ, but tissues also.
Tissues, yeah. Veins, skins,
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah. Okay, well, I want to congratulate both of you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Priscilla Holliday. She's a volunteer for the Gift of Hope program here in Lake County. And also Cheryl Craig, volunteer Gift of Hope also. And they're both advocates for hope. And I didn't give both of you a chance into your regular profession daily. You mentioned that you with the Youth Build program.
Yes, Youth Bill Lake County, yes.
And you're actually saving youngsters' lives there too, right?
Trying every day. Trying every day to help save a life, yes.
Give them a second chance. These
Yes.
have been dropouts, maybe been expelled and so forth. And
Correct.
And this is one of the high national programs. So the
Exactly.
president's is high on the Youth Bill. And
I'm an advocate for community now, and also I'm an advocate for my church.
And again, you mentioned you with the Greater Faith.
I'm with Greater
Baptist,
Faith.
And let me-
As Reverend H.L. Jordan.
He's a pastor.
It's
okay.
my pastor.
Well, I have to give Priscilla
Yeah,
equal
give me
opportunity.
equal
here.
opportunity. I'm St. John Missionary Baptist Church, so Jimmy O. Johnson is my pastor.
Well, I want to thank you very much. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
great.
And thank you for
Thank
giving
you.
me and the community forum an opportunity to get the word out
Yeah.
about the Gift of Hope program.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.